Alrighty. So today, in this very exciting moment, I am here with Michael Richter, and we are going to do a shared practice. He is also a teacher and I wonder if it's even come up. I'm just having a little bit of internet slowness today. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so you can see him on the screen and I'm on the screen too. And we are going to share our practice. So we're going to kind of ping back and forth between who is leading and who is following. And what we were talking about before coming onto this live was this idea of being versus doing, letting things, taking in the stimulation and letting it sit there, and then coming back out to take in more. So we're going to share this back and forth, and I'll start it off and get us settled in. So you can be in any position that feels good and comfortable to you. Standing, seated, in your bed, walking around, any kind of version. And let's just start with coming in and just asking yourself the question right now, what am I doing? And asking deeply into your cells, deeply into your body, deeply into your this moment in time. What's going on? So what's happening right now? I'm asking yourself, like, as I'm in this moment, as I'm present, can I sort of disentangle from the doing and just rest in the being? We could also think of kind of the Taoist version of the emptiness of doing, that the doership just happens. You don't have to do it. So maybe part of it is taking out the drive to do, the necessity of trying or forcing or trying to be perfect or whatever, but letting yourself just be in the whatever is happening. So it's kind of going to let you ping back and forth, maybe from this active noticing, active doing, active participation to just a presence with whatever shows up. And we're allowed to move, we're allowed to be still, we're allowed to process these concepts and allow them to even grow and shift, so that the conceptual framework of us being human is a living process. It's an alive thing that has capacity to be different from a day-to-day moment, from a day-to-day basis. That the levels of which I'm understanding my being can shift and change. It's not a set, rigid, fixed thing. It's always in the shifting, changing pattern. So inviting us to ride that as if we're not making it happen, but we're just experiencing whatever's happening. We're just present with, in the being, letting go of the sort of active doing, and maybe moving into a very released sense of doing, where it's very easy and very relaxed. Doing without doing. I'm going to pass it over to Michael and be on the receiving end.
Oh, great. So you're just opening to what I wanted us to explore a bit, which is receiving. Right. So I feel like I and many of us, we want to receive, right? Love and nurturance and comfort, and we want to receive. But for myself, how much am I really, really receiving? So I'm interested that we get to explore that as part of this experiment together. How much am I receiving support from what's under me? How much am I receiving nurturant life through air that's coming into me? How much am I receiving the gift of this time that I'm giving myself to be with Laura and Michael? And maybe I'm feeling the receiving, maybe I'm not quite feeling the receiving, maybe I'm noticing a yearning for more receiving. And can I be with that or allow any change that's being called for? Not having to stay with something, but as there's a yearning, being able to try something and surprise myself. And if I'm touching something with my hands, am I allowing myself to receive that sensation, whether it be air or my body or my clothes? Is there something in it for me, some comfort or some stimulation, some feeling good from receiving what my hands are making contact with? And perhaps I'm receiving stimulation, perhaps I'm receiving rest. Perhaps there's an interplay or a weaving of stimulation and rest. And perhaps I'm receiving something that's uncomfortable or painful, a message in some part of me. And can I be with that receiving as well if it's there? And I pass back to Laura.
Mm. Yeah, and I'm right now receiving this sort of nervous system tremoring that's just going on, which feels really delicious. And one thing I notice, like as I'm in my exploration, And whether I'm offering or receiving or listening, and I feel like all of it's happening sort of at the same time. The thing I notice is, when do I start going forward to something else and thinking about the future? And when am I capable of just really being in the thing that's going on and allowing it to play out, right? Like where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let this pattern keep on going until it's finished. And how much am I controlling it or just letting it be, letting it do its thing? In a weird way, I feel like for me, it's like this, I'm almost in a, like in a fun house, and oh, how far does this go? What if I go down this tunnel? What happens over here? Oh, reach the end. Now I come back up this tunnel. So there's like this movement within my system, within my body, that's sort of allowing this exploration into being, that's just arising with its own tempos and shifts and changes. And then can I rest in what arises? Can I rest with that? And then I also have this little cat that keeps getting involved, which is like another little cute gift, a little funny gift that brings in some heart opening for me and humor. I love what that question of how much am I willing to receive? How much support can I take in? Because in many ways we have to prepare to receive. We have to prepare for more energy. We can't just immediately take in a bunch of stuff that we haven't made space for. So I feel like a lot of this micro movement is just allowing my whole system, priming my whole system to be with more support, with more nourishment, with more nurturing, with more love, with more connection and presence. But if I don't give myself the opportunity to make this interior space, or maybe it's exterior space for other people, who knows? Like it can all come just exactly at the right time, I feel like. If I give myself the time to be present with Michael, with Laura here, with the cat in this moment. It feels really delicious. And even in my deliciousness, like, oh, there's a little bit of pain in one part of my body, and there's stuff happening in the house, and there's things going to happen in the future and in the past. But I can still just be in that sort of bright, shiny part of it, even with all the other stuff. I'm going to pass it off with that idea.
All that stuff outside and all that stuff inside happening and being with it all. Appreciate that. And I also liked the cleaning out the space to be able to receive was lovely. Yeah, how do we prepare ourselves to be open spaces to receive? That's so abstract, but I don't know, maybe we can just start with, I'm thinking what's coming to me is some like brushing or gentle yet firm smoothing on ourselves, maybe at the head and face or arms or wherever there's a calling, maybe at your chest, just kind of a smoothing, slow, clear. Maybe for you, it's a combing out. So it's me helping me, right? Me being with me, hands receiving what they're touching, and body parts receiving what hands are offering. And and maybe not. Maybe there's something that's protecting us from the receiving, and being with then whatever that might be, if there's some tension or some armoring or holding, or and honoring that. Right, as Laura was mentioning, it's all in its time. So if this is the time to be with something in us that's saying no to open space, yeah, thank you for that also. And there may be some of all of it, right? There may be parts of us that we can feel don't want to open up to the space just now, and others that do. And here I have a dog barking, my dog barking. She's not usually a barker, so it certainly fills up space with barking. And if I allow the sounds in, is there something for me in receiving the sound? Whatever sounds might be around of people working around you or cats playing. Is there any sense of gift or joy? Good, and I see Laura's up and moving, so I'm gonna pass back.
For me, when you said that, receiving the sound, that felt very relaxed and very still for some reason. So even like not having to fight against whatever's happening, not having to resist the sounds that are coming in, but allowing them to just be part of the vibration. And of course, like, not only do I have a cat here, I have a very engaged cat that really wants to play. So I'm letting her have some of that, which to me is just funny and fun. So it's part of the joy that gets to bubble up within this space of this moment. Yeah. The littlest one is the biggest crasher.
Yeah, and I'm inspired to take the offering from the cat to play as an offering to us too.
Yeah.
Right, like a nice reminder, invitation. Oh yeah, what about some playing in here?
Right. There's a lot of presence with stimulation coming in and also going out, but it can also be, like bathing in the experience. Like I'm allowing the experience to wash over me. Like we talked about that, waves, right? Waves of stimulation, of being, of doing, of non-doing. What if I allow those waves to just be playful and to wash over me, receiving that? Or even like the touch. Can I receive myself? Can I receive myself in these different sort of modes of playing or just listening, or receiving that resistant part of me that, the naysayer, the one that says, oh, this is so stupid. Letting that one be there too. Thank you for that. Yes. Sometimes when I meet with that resistance, I just like to say, you're right. Yes, yes, you're right.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Yes, yes, you're right. This is exactly it. And when I get into the play mode, there's a lot less doing. It's just present with being. It's happening. If I go into judgment or, being critical or thinking about the past or the future, it's less present in the being. It's more tension and more controlling. But if I let it just happen and there's no mistakes, it's all fine. Whatever comes out is that's it. Whether it's, on paper or in my movement or however we're looking at that. Just allowing some freedom within your system, seeing if you can allow some freedom and some spaciousness in your system. Yeah. And then also, which I haven't even thought about because I've mostly not been looking, but looking at the screen and taking in some of the playfulness from a person on the screen, right? Like I can make these triangular shapes in a different way or get my body into a position but still be in that play. I think either my internet froze or Michael's froze, but that's kind of an awesome position that's going on there. You can look at the thing and see. Yeah, Michael's froze. So that might be a good time to bring it in as I've got Michael in that fabulous position. Bringing it back towards the end in whatever way that feels like you want to do that, still moving in any way. Just feeling where you are now, feeling the space inside and outside of your body. A lot of this practice for me is really about allowing my body to do the stuff. So it's not my mind doing the doing, it's my body just doing its thing, my body given the space of expression. We lost him entirely, but I will say that Michael is in Mexico and sometimes the internet is not as reliable there. And as is my thing too. Sometimes it's not great here. So I'm going to end that as I'm all by myself in the room. And if you are part of the people that watch this, then by all means, feel free to like, subscribe, share, and consider supporting by buying me a coffee. It is in the